Let's get to our top story on this Wednesday. With less than 3 weeks until the November election, there are concerns tonight that thousands of voter registrations filed by the deadline haven't actually been processed by the state.
And this is something we've been telling you about for a few weeks now here on ABC 13. ABC 13 reporter Chaz Miller leading off our program this afternoon live in studio. Chaz, first things first, where do things stand right now at the moment?
Well, we have been reporting on this, Jonathan, and I've spoken to both Fort Bend and Harris counties today. Fort Bend says at this moment they still have about 1,200 voter registrations that haven't been processed. That's of today. Harris County, well, they says they still have a little over 14,000 of them. Both those numbers are quite a bit down.
Yeah, and that's obviously a big concern here, just so close to the election. This is not something that just popped up, though. What is the underlying cause of all of this?
Well, it's a complicated issue, and this isn't something that's happening in every county across the state, Jonathan, but the Fort Bend County Elections Administrator says the issue boils down to what he calls a perfect storm of technological issues. Long story short, when you register to vote within your county, that information is sent to the Secretary of State. It is processed electronically and then sent back to the county from which it came. That's how it's supposed to go. But here's the problem. The state upgraded the software on its side, and the software being used in Harris and Fort Bend County is also an issue because the company that makes it is going under. So the problem here is the information that's supposed to come from the state back to the county isn't happening smoothly in some instances.
Yeah, so what happens, of course, early voting comes around and folks show up to vote and their registration hasn't processed.
Well, there's a few things you can do. The Secretary of State recommended showing up for early voting, or even more proactive than that. You can check on the Secretary of State's website to see if your registration has been processed. The Fort Bend County Administrator says if you show up on Election Day, you will be offered the opportunity to fill out a provisional ballot if your registration still hasn't gone through, but they'd have to go in after the fact to confirm that you were registered on time. If there are still issues even after that, he said the county would have to appeal to the state ballot board to count it. Now, Harris County, they're saying you should check your registration status as well. If you want to do that through them instead of the Secretary of State, you can do so at hctax.net. You can also call them at 713-274-8200.
And it's concerning, the whole deal about making your voice heard. You get your applications in and then you're not registered to vote. You are an intrepid reporter, we know. Have you talked with the state of Texas about this?
I have. They talked to me earlier today, and they said the update of their software is something that was a year in the making, and that they do have a team of people whose job it is to assist counties in smoothing out related wrinkles. They did tell me everything is automated and that it's not like they're just sitting around their office in Austin with a stack of unprocessed registrations. They have also said anyone who registered to vote by the deadline will ultimately have their vote counted. Now, the Fort Bend County Administrator that I spoke to said if they didn't update the state system this year, they likely would have had to do it in 2027. Now, though, for a constitutional amendment election, you're going to have less people turn out than would for an election involving a presidential race or a midterm. So that's why the state decided to update this now. We will certainly keep an eye on it. Until then, live in studio, I'm Chaz Miller, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Chaz.